Good, I need to be. You are live. And that's probably live.
It might not be, but maybe. Let's pretend like it is. Oh, that was my ankle.
Oh, honey.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Factual Fridays. There's a cat there. I'm not saying the other words. Okay, so we've got a hell of a show for you guys today. We got a lot to do, a lot to say. What can I say on this one? It hits home, hits hard. And so I got some videos to watch and
Disclaimer before we start.
Disclaimer. There's some views. How'd you say it?
There's some opinions from a man regarding this abortion issue and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it usually favored?
Strong opinions. And
I think you guys shouldn't have an opinion.
Yeah.
So,
but
and
yes, guys should have opinions when it comes to this, especially when it comes to their own children. So that's me saying it. And just know there are a couple videos that we have that are a little on the more squeamish side if you can't stand stuff like that.
You can either skip through or just check out another video.
So we're going to get on with this. Let me get over to the other page here and start these videos.
What do you?
Like 6 months or a year ago, you told me about. And so now.
Okay, there you go. So you have to. That's muting.
Yeah, that muted it.
Can you back it up?
Okay, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm trying to get this right so that we can. Okay. Just going to go all the way back. Okay.
This is just a short about from Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
Like 6 months or a year ago, you told me about the proposition. And so now every time I do a DNA, I'm like, oh, there's my mom.
Yeah, you already know.
I'm like, yeah, I have like a leg for you. I'm like, oh shit. If other people were to hear me, they'd be like, you're evil.
Yes.
About 30 years ago, my wife and I, we had our 3 kids and decided we...
Pause. And yes, I would say that those people are evil. I mean, that's what, when you go in to get the DNC, from what we have seen, they are selling the parts of your child. You do not get your child back, and it's evil. It's flat out evil. They're selling body parts. That's how they are making their money off of you. I mean, people need to wake up to this and stop. There are so many people that use this as a form of birth control. And in my opinion, that is what is being trying to stop by saying no to abortions, because medical abortions have never elective, but medical abortions have never been stopped, right?
As far as I know, I keep hearing stories though that people like, well, I was denied this until I was really sick and everything.
Well, yeah, but that's the medical part. Until they were really sick.
But they had to get really sick apparently. They just wouldn't do it like earlier as a preventative.
Yeah, because I don't think they do preventative. I think it's literally life-saving.
Right.
And those are the ones that if you need it, they will be done.
I've always worked in California where everything like that's always been very easily and readily available, so I don't really know for other states. But as far as I know, I mean, it's never been illegal. As far as I know, it's never been illegal.
Yeah.
For life-saving medical
abortion.
They don't even call it abortion at that point.
Yeah. If the mother's going to die or if there's other issues, I mean, those have always been accepted that we know.
Like I said, if you have something going on like that, you're not going to go to something like a Planned Parenthood or an abortion clinic. You're going to go to a regular OBGYN, or an ER or something.
Yeah.
The problem is getting, like, you go to Planned Parenthood, you pretty much go to Planned Parenthood for one reason, and that's not usually for medical necessity.
No, and that's like, Daughter of Otten here had run into some people when we had our issues with it, that literally were using it as a form of birth control. The woman had like 8 of them, and she's like, oh yeah, she's like, it's nothing.
She's like, oh, it's not so bad. She's like, don't worry about it, it'll be over before you know it. And she's like, this is like my, I think, 8th time. One of the pamphlets that I had, somebody had, they said the average was around like 11 years old or something.
And it makes
weird.
It makes me sick. And then the other thing that they're using, and this guy says it all too, is the whole, well, I can't imagine what a 12-year-old that's been raped, what it's like for her going through all this. Okay, so what about the baby? The baby still does not have a say in it. I mean, I understand that people don't think that it has an opinion, voice, or whatever until like further on. But in my opinion, 8 weeks is where the cutoff should be. Yeah, you should know by then, and if something's going to be done, it needs to be done by 8 weeks, because at that point, and it's been proven by a lot of native folklore and people too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's even down to the Christian principle. They say that the soul enters at either 40 days, or at the time of the first breath. It kind of goes both. That's kind of like goes both ways. But for the most part, culturally, you'll find that it says at 40 days the soul enters the body, and that's roughly about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. So all right, I'll let this one go on, and then we'll talk more.
We weren't going to have any more. And then, surprise, she's pregnant. I didn't want her to have an abortion. She didn't want to have an abortion. And I remember thinking back then how glad I was that the government wasn't sitting at our kitchen table and telling her what she could do.
Yeah.
As life would have it, a little while down the road, she had a miscarriage, and she had to have a DNC. I remember thinking again how glad I was that the government wasn't in her doctor's office with her, telling her what to do. Because without it, I would have lost my wife, and my kids would have lost their mother. I'll never understand what it was like for my wife back then, to be pregnant, then to not be pregnant. I could never understand what it's like for a 12-year-old girl to be raped and become pregnant. I could never understand what it's like for a woman who's getting ready to have a baby and looking forward to it when something terrible happens. I'm a man. I can never be pregnant. I'll never understand that. So why should I have any choice in a woman's healthcare decisions? Why should our government, who's primarily run by men who will never understand what it's like to be pregnant, have a choice in those healthcare decisions? But thanks to Donald Trump and his Christo-fascist Supreme Court, in many states in America today, if that had happened to my wife and I.
And ladies and gentlemen, please, because Daughter Lot and I, we're going over this, and we have no idea when or how Donald Trump set something like this into play. If you guys have websites or something that state how or what, please put them in either the chat or the comment, okay? Because we're trying to figure this out. As far as we know, he never did.
It's like I said, I saw a direct quote from him, at least talking about the birth control issue, saying that he's not going to get involved. He said it before, he said it again. I'm not getting involved. It's a state issue. States, where each state's going to have to figure out what they want to do about that. And that might have included abortions.
But then he was leaving it up to the states. He did not do it.
Yeah, even when I'm looking here, they're saying that he's pretty ambivalent to that. He doesn't really say a lot about it. He's just kind of vague in whether he supports it or not.
Yeah.
Now we know that he supports gay marriage and stuff because he's hosted that.
And he was one of the first ones to host a gay marriage at the White House.
The White House, right? So it seems to me that it was probably just like an American's freedom thing, like a state-by-state thing. He's gonna, but I really don't know. I don't know where they're getting that from, but for the past day and a half, that's all I've heard.
I know, and it's just not true that we have seen.
Yeah,
and I've got one more thing to say, but I want him to say it first, and then I'll pause it and talk about it.
I'd have lost her. My kids would have lost her. So on behalf of my 5 granddaughters, my daughter, my 3 nieces, and every other young woman out there in America, in fact, on behalf of all the women in America, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. Because if we do, and we give her a Senate and a House that'll back her up, she can undo the Supreme Court damage that Donald Trump has done.
Okay, now, this is where I stop and I want to say something. It strikes me as funny that so many people think that she's going to get in office and change all this when she sits in office as we speak as vice president, and it's supposed to be the same administration, same policies.
Why would it change? Yeah.
And it hasn't been done yet. I mean, Donald Trump hasn't been in office in like what 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
So why hasn't it changed already? What's gonna change more? That
they're taking this sacred thing and they're politicizing it. Yeah, the sacred thing that should be completely confidential, either between you and the gods and your family and your doctor, if that's the thing. And they're politicizing it and using it as a stance without really wanting to talk about the issue.
Exactly.
So they'll bring up the 1% of medically necessary procedures and the 1% of things that go wrong. The 1%, just like they do with the 1% with the trans.
Yes.
And they make everything about that. The rape, the medical necessity.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll bring that up. But what about the 99% that is for other reasons, mostly economic?
Yes.
73 to 75% economic.
It is, yes.
What about it being targeted toward minorities and racial profiling? What about that? These people that are usually pro-choice, they're usually all about like the BLM and everything else.
Yeah.
These companies target the blacks, the Hispanics. That's like their demographic. They give great discounts to people of minority.
They do. They really do.
So it's like they have all these things that they could be talking about, but
they're not.
They're going to keep pushing these and pushing it
and just to get the votes.
Right. But there's only 1% of it that's actually needed.
Exactly.
So what about the other 99%?
And we can start getting things back on track. Good day.
Wow, I don't know none of this. Too much. This is all
right, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the ones I said that's a little more graphic. Fast forward this one if you don't like seeing that type of thing. But here we go, because this one, this guy gets shown why it's bad with the abortions. So
this is just crazy. A lot of information that I wasn't aware of, and it's emotional. I don't support it no way whatsoever.
What do you think about abortion?
I think it is a very individual choice.
Would you consider yourself pro-choice, pro-life, or neither?
Pro-choice.
Do you know anything about how an abortion is performed?
Absolutely not.
Would you support any restrictions on abortion, such as limiting them to the first 3 months of pregnancy or the first 6 months of pregnancy?
It should be available all the way until birth.
Would you support abortions after birth?
No, I can't go that. No, because the baby is alive. So no, absolutely not. I don't support it. Once the baby is breathing,
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Okay. The day before birth, abortion's okay. Day after birth would be the cutoff for you.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. That's what I figured. I just want to make sure.
Yes, I want to make sure for myself.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify. Okay, this is a video with more information about the procedure between months 4 and 6.
Wow. It's too much. Wow. Oh, Lord have mercy. This is too much. Too much. This is just crazy. Wow, I don't know none of this. Wow, this is too much. This is gross. A lot of information that I wasn't aware of, and it's emotional. It's very emotional to listen to that kind of suffering that babies go through when parents don't want them. It's just too gross. I don't support it no way whatsoever. I was like proactive, to give it to the female decision, but now my decision changed. Absolutely no abortion whatsoever. If you don't want to have a baby, don't have sex or use something to protect yourself. But once that fetus there, then you have to deal with it.
Thanks for sharing that with me. What did you learn that you didn't already know about the procedure?
About the whole thing, about what, the abortion and what the babies go through. And that's really hit home right there. I did not know the procedure and how the abortion take place.
I mean,
Do you think that other people should watch this video?
Absolutely.
if you don't know anything about it, then you shouldn't even comment at all about it.
Right, you should have
You-
a stance,
You
right?
shouldn't have a stance. You need to know, and people really do need to see these videos. Be like, they should make it mandatory before a woman goes in to get an abortion
They
on
should
what's
do
going to
it in
happen.
the sex ed classes in school.
I know they should.
They want to peddle inappropriate books and like things on how to like give blowjobs and stuff to 10-year-olds, but
Yeah.
they don't want to show this sort of thing.
Well,
and
because they'll lose
consequences.
money.
Yeah.
Again, it's another big pharma situation.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And they don't want to lose money. They don't want to lose these people coming in because they've got not only the people paying them to do the procedure, but they're getting paid for the body parts too.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for them.
Yeah. So it seems like and I mean, I used to know like back in the day that they use like the placenta, like the growing placenta for collagen for makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like you had to start looking to make sure it was made of plant collagen if it's a collagen, So it's like, and I don't know if that included the collagen that people inject into their body too, like their lips and stuff.
More than likely.
Because it's just human, So it's like I knew about that back in the day, and then I heard rumors about them like selling body parts, and I thought, well, that's good if it's for saving other babies,
Yeah.
but it can't be.
No.
Because they're even talking about hands and feet and stuff.
I know.
It's like this is very backwards.
It is, and it's a very screwed up business.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, like on the first video, the way that the nurses were just talking.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can get you one of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's not a problem. Don't worry.
Drinking,
Yeah.
laughing. It's like that. I remember there's a longer interview, and she's talking about like how somebody wanted. It was not a viable pregnancy, but it was a wanted pregnancy. So that means like the mother wanted it, but something was anomalous with the fetus supposedly.
Yeah.
And the mother wanted footprints, and so she found a way to get footprints, basically just by, tearing the baby apart and still not having the partial birth abortion
Yeah.
thing because that's illegal. So she basically ripped its leg off to give her footprints.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's just sitting there eating food off a fucking toothpick while she's talking about this as if it's just nothing.
Yeah.
Sick.
These are sick people.
I said it's like, I still believe in the choice of it as long as it's done ethically and it's between you and God, and there's ways to do it yourself. And I'm not talking about with a coat hanger.
No.
There's been herbal remedies that have been used for years and years and years, thousands of years. For that exact reason. But these people are making money off of suffering, and they're encouraging people to do it. And
but they're already in a medical setting. So if something goes wrong, it doesn't matter.
That's what they say about everything.
But there's a lot of the things that do go wrong, and the women never know.
No, nobody knows. It's like movies are.
Yeah, there's been a couple movies that are out there. We watched one where the woman almost bled out and died, but they'll never know because they pump them up with so much freaking drugs. It's like they didn't know what happened when they came out.
Right. And then they go out and tell the family members, it's like, something got backed up and I couldn't get to her when I was supposed to. When in reality, she was fighting for her life for the past 3 hours.
Yeah.
But no, it's just something routine. No, there's been, Ed Allred had multiple, lawsuits put against him.
Yeah.
Because of, hemorrhaging and everything after the fact. Well, I wonder why. You got it down to what do you brag about, 5 minutes?
Yeah. A 5-minute assembly line.
Yeah. And
pump them in, pump them out, go to the waiting room, done.
And then they said it. He was admitted. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's like, they called him Fast Eddie, and it wasn't because of those horses.
No.
But it's like a sick industry. And it was the same thing with him, eugenics. He was a racist. He was trying to control the Hispanic and Black population.
Yeah.
He was setting up free clinics closer to the border, and he was giving free abortions to those minority groups. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the problem that I have.
Yeah,
If
very
a woman
much.
really does decide and she wants to go through it herself, then she should do it herself, or through
Yes.
like a midwife or something, like, you know, a healer or something.
But you still have to take the baby into consideration.
Right, that's true. But
I mean, because the baby doesn't have a choice.
I
Like,
guess it has to be done to a certain point.
we do believe that the baby picks where he wants to go,
Right.
or he or she,
Before it even gets there.
before it even gets there.
Yeah, we even signed a contract before. It's like, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're here
Yes. But at the same time, the baby then doesn't get to decide if the person's going to abort it or not.
for. Right. You take that out of.
Yeah, you take that completely out of
Yeah.
the baby's
And
hands.
like with us, it's like I think it's a little bit easier for us to process because of that belief system, because of reincarnation. But
Yes.
I was telling you about what the Catholics were thinking. It's so bleak. They think
Exactly.
those babies haven't been baptized, so therefore they're like in constant limbo
Yeah,
because of the decision of somebody else.
exactly.
And the Christians believe that they get sent back up to heaven, but they never get a chance to come back down here again. They never get a chance to be born again. That's really, really bleak.
That very much so. Yes.
And I guess, like a lot of people are non-believers, and that's a big part of it. They don't believe in anything.
Yeah,
So it is to them just a clump of cells.
and that's sad. That's sad to think.
Like Matt said, you said, we're all just a clump of cells. And if you go to Walmart, you'll see some that are clumpier than a newborn. So, it's
And we'll
like,
we'll get to
those?
hear Matt Walsh's point of view soon.
Yes. I know,
We got a nice one from him.
that was really good.
He's one of the main ones that we're watching. So let's
But-
get on. Are you good?
Yep.
Okay.
Because again, we are ignorant of, and we think we know, but we really don't know. We know abortion, but do we know the dynamics of the procedure that is taking place? And this is what I'm learning just now, the procedure that I did not know. So my whole opinion is different because I thought that, woman choice, but I didn't know the information that I just obtained today.
Is there anything else that you would like to share?
It's just emotional video. Babies go through a lot in the process of developing in the parent's stomach. And then once there's a certain point, then you have to leave it alone. Let that baby become alive. Wow, thank you for that information because, again, I thought I knew the information. I thought I knew, but I don't. And I appreciate you here to show us
Listen
what
to that.
the really dynamic of abortion and how it really affects the parent and the child. So I appreciate you.
They're not talking about mental health and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Live Action founder and president, Lila Rose. Lila, great to have you on the show. I mean, you look at some of the images, and it seems to me like you have planned.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this one here, this is just recently. This just happened with the DNC,
Yeah, the convention, the
And
Democratic National Convention.
and this is what they did. So just watch this. We'll talk about it after.
Planned Parenthood now is no longer just, staying out of it, no politics, providing a service. They are promoting, they are advocating abortion, they are celebrating abortion.
Trace, I think it's so just tragic. The abortion industry is on full display here at the DNC, trying to persuade people that pregnancy is a disease, that motherhood is a curse. These are total lies. Motherhood and family are some of the most meaningful and beautiful things that anybody can do with their life, and they bring the most joy. But of course, that's the opposite message that's being sent by these antics outside the DNC. And listen, you mentioned earlier 10 children scheduled to be killed at the DNC as part of Planned Parenthood's giveaway free abortions antic. What about their lives? Those 10 children deserve to be mourned, and they deserve to live. And those are the people that we should be thinking about at this really brutal display that's going on right now at the DNC.
And I want to put this is the New York Post. They write the following: outside the van was a taco truck, as well as a stand run by the Chicago Abortion Fund where patients could pick up goodie bags filled with face masks, candy, painkillers, and cards of affirmation. I mean, it's a carnival atmosphere, Lila. And you look at this and you're like,
it's
listen,
unreal.
I don't get it. You're dressed up as birth control pills or, mifepristone, your abortion pills, and the 20-foot IUD, and on it goes.
I hate to say it, but the Democratic National Convention has become a death cult. It's like a religious practice that they're doing right now, mocking motherhood, mocking parenthood, literally killing children, parading this full-on show for the abortion industry. It's very clear what their agenda is. It's bald. It's in front of the entire American public that this is who they are. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And this is not what most Americans want, not anything close to it. Most Americans want to have good families, live good lives, have good jobs, have a strong economy. And here they are celebrating the killing, the murder of innocent human beings as some sort of ritual at their own convention. It's absolutely horrific.
Yeah, here are some of the protesters I was talking about, dressed up as the abortion pills and then chanting at the rally. Let's listen for just a few seconds of this. I mean, what happens, Lila, is it just kind of comes across as mocking, right? I mean, it comes across as no longer are we talking about this serious subject. No longer, all of a sudden, it becomes this, oh, well, even pro-choice people are offended by this. I mean, you read some of the social media stuff, and there's a lot of pro-choice people like, this is offensive. This is not what.
No, this should not be celebrated by any means at all.
It should be a somber thing if it really was about people that are like in these dire situations where they're going to lose their life and they're so sad to have lost their babies and all this stuff.
Exactly.
And it's like, why are you celebrating that?
You should not be.
It's like it should be a somber thing. You should give them the medication and be like, okay, be blessed and be on your way and say your prayer. But no, they're chanting like pagans. And I hate to say that, but it's like, like not like our kind, not like lawful pagans, but lawless pagans.
Exactly.
And it's just like, why are you celebrating something like that?
That you don't need to be. Yeah. No.
I mean, like I said, there's whole TikToks about people that say, oh, I got that post-abortion glow.
I know, and that's sickening.
This whole ritual before they do it, and it's like, no, that's disgraceful. That is really.
Yeah. What about the child's life that they're ending
like
just because they don't feel that they want to pass it on?
Right. I mean, oh, I can't bring a baby into this. I can't do it. Can't.
Yeah.
Can't. And it's like
it's a generation of selfishness.
You can, and you would be very surprised what lays on the other side of that stuff.
Exactly.
What we intended.
I mean, they're saying my body, my choice. What about, yes, as a woman, it's our body, but when we're pregnant, there's another body, right? There's two bodies and another body that deserves a shot at life. And they talk about freedom and women's empowerment. There's no freedom in killing your child. That's slavery to an anti-life ideology that tells you that motherhood is a curse. That's a slavery. That's an oppression of women as it is also an oppression of a child. So there's lies that are just covering all of this violence and all of these antics.
Was it like this, Lila? I mean, you've been at this for a while. Was it like this 6-8 years ago, or are we moving in a different direction?
Well, I remember the days of safe, legal, and rare. Even Hillary Clinton, safe, legal, and rare. Abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. This is no longer the DNC.
Is it really? Is it really? That's.
I think they're still saying it, and it's like it doesn't seem like it. Why you gotta keep opening more and more of them?
Not at all. I mean, exactly.
I think that's what she goes on to say here.
Talk
about this is not the same kind of Democratic convention that she remembers, from years before.
Yeah.
DNC or the Democratic Party. Now it is, let's dress up as abortion pills and give out free abortions at our own convention and celebrate it as a death cult. So this is dramatically different than even just the last decade. And you know what? I think it's the extreme is going to expose them. I mean, people, like you said, they're waking up that this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And I don't think it's going to help them win this election. Far from it.
It's unsettling.
No,
It is. Lila
not at all.
Rose, great to see you as always. Thank you.
Just evil that it's happening.
Clementine, I love you more than words.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is another one that's kind of harder to hear. I don't think there's too much like as far as visual,
No, it's just a guy's story.
but it's his story. My story will be out there too. I mean, you know, my wife, Dr. Vaughton, she has a story up on her page. If you go to her YouTube, you will be able to see it. She's got hers out, and I'll be doing mine here in a while.
Yeah, because what we definitely need is more of like men's perspective.
Yes,
And so often all you hear is, well, you've been raised with the it's her body, her choice.
exactly. And not enough men speak out about this.
But when you have lawsuits that are going on over DNA,
Yeah,
you know, Elon Musk is even going through that right now, going over like a lawsuit from DNA because he used somebody's genetics.
yeah, I remember that.
But it's like a whole, it's weird. It's like not, it's beyond us. But,
Yeah.
you know, but there are lawsuits involving DNA now all across the board, whether it's sperm donors or whatever.
Yes,
So then men need to start understanding that half of the genetic code is being carried there.
exactly.
They do have some say.
Yeah.
You know, it's like maybe even you want to see that she has majority say of it, but it's like it isn't 100% her choice.
No,
And more
it's
people
not.
need to understand that for this whole reason here.
Exactly.
You know.
They really do.
And I know they're going to talk about that. Project 2025 is this whole agenda that they're going to force women to stay pregnant and everything because of this whole. But it's like,
I did.
make sure you check out project2025.com. It's a pretty cool website, and also check out the audio link that's on there for
Yeah.
a cool surprise. Lots of good information there.
Yep.
Can explain. Please know I'm still fighting for you, and I will not give up. You are my girl,
Okay.
and I am your father.
Crap.
Me and Clementine's mom met down at the Jersey Shore. It was at a bar,
Obviously, it's not together anymore. right?
and she stood out. Days turning into weeks, and weeks turning into months. Every day wasn't first dates, they were first adventures. We shared so many memories that just built what was becoming our future. As we got to fall in love more and more with each other, I saw a future, a beautiful future with Clementine's mom.
Her side of the story.
Yeah.
I've never been told I'm pregnant, let alone a text. I looked at the picture of 3-4 pregnancy tests, and yeah, it stopped me right in my tracks. But ultimately, that shock was followed with excitement. Called her immediately, and I was quiet. I wanted to hear her
And
response.
put them over text.
And excitement turned very quickly into sadness. The thought of abortion didn't immediately come up. It was more of a simple few sentences of, I'm not ready for this, I can't do this. I followed with, it's okay. We're gonna figure this out. And we kind of ended the conversation open-endedly. In the next couple of days, I stood kind of silent while looking up all of these questions that I had on what I'm supposed to do if I want to keep the baby and she doesn't want to keep the baby. It says that, well, it's a woman's body and it's a woman's choice. And then me asking friends that are female and they have children, I would ask them, well, what should I do if I want to keep the baby? And they would tell me, that's not your choice. That's not your decision. That's her choice. It kept me silent. wasn't Clementine's mom that kept me silent. She actually is the reason why I spoke out. She was upset with me. She said, I want your opinion. Tell me, what do you want? You're not telling me what you want. And because, again, how I was coached, I said, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. She said, no, it's not. It's your choice too. What do you want to do? And I told her right then and there, very blunt, I want to keep the baby. When we first got the sonogram, she was the size of a strawberry, they told me. And they gave me a 3D little model to hold of her.
Smile.
And before I got to hold her, I saw her. I saw her little legs, her little arms, her head. I saw her beautiful future. Everything just painted right before me. And then they asked if I wanted to hear her heartbeat. And they played the murmur. And her heartbeat was like music. I can still hear it. The day Clementine died was March 13th. I couldn't get in touch with Clementine's mom. The following day, on the 14th, I started getting texts back. The next day, now it's the 15th, I get a phone call asking where I was at the grocery store. I said, why? What's wrong? Is everything okay? She was quiet. I said, is our baby okay? She said, no. I said, is our baby alive? She said, no. I had to accept it. I was forced to accept it. Losing my daughter made me realize so much. It made me realize life is not something that you can just throw away. Life is something to be cherished and valued. A person is not just something that you can forget about or just remove from your life.
Question. If you could talk to the abortionist doctor, what would you say to them? What would you want to ask them?
That's when we had our ultrasound done.
When thinking about what I would ask, it's not just a question for one person. It's not just a single question for a single person. It's multiple questions for multiple people. It took 5 people to kill my daughter. A student, a trainee, learned how to kill late-term babies with Clementine's body. The doctor, the MD who trained the other MD, I would ask him, what did my daughter look like? Is she as beautiful as I think she is? All of the details that I see in my mind when I close my eyes and I think of my Clementine. I would ask him, what color were her eyes? Those would be more important questions than how do you sleep at night? How do you live with yourself? How can you do this?
Yeah.
As a father, first finding out about my daughter's death, devastated, a mess, distraught. So many sleepless nights. Not just over the mourning process, but trying to get my daughter's body back.
You can't.
I didn't just find out that my daughter was dead. I found out that my daughter was missing. Cherry Hill Women's Center did not want to give us any answers, refusing to tell us any information on where our daughter was or how to get her body back.
Yeah, they were just gone.
I will not rest until I know where my daughter is, until I find every piece of her that has been scattered.
That's the hardest thing. I had to stop it here for a second because that's the hardest thing is when you do something like this, you will not get the body. It's into the research facilities. It's all over. They don't know whose is whose. They don't know what's what's.
It's a Holocaust.
Yeah, it's a Holocaust. It's a mess. I mean, you're not getting it back. This kills me even watching it still, and I've watched it before. This is what people don't understand.
If they were sincere about it, they would offer to do cremation or something.
Yeah,
You know,
for
so
sure.
that you have the body back and everything. Because it's like, you know, I mean, some people don't care, but there's a lot that do, especially if it's late term.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, it's like that's what, like I said, it makes it a little bit easier for people like us that believe in reincarnation.
Yes, it does.
But I cannot imagine in these people's position that they believe that
just one shot,
it's one shot,
one chance,
yeah, that was it,
and that life no longer has it
ever. You know, that's And then, and also, like, you know, it's a big thing for them to have the body and be able to have it, like, so it's complete in Christ.
Exactly.
And they can't do that.
And they
either,
can't.
You know, I mean,
that's the hardest thing.
It's like you can only pray that, like, the heart was used to save a newborn or something. That's like, you know, that there's some life saving thing. That came from this. That maybe you were able to save 5 babies with your one. You know, because that's the only way I think that you can get through it. I mean, and I don't have like a high percentage of a thought that would be true.
No,
but
not at all.
I mean, maybe.
It's hard.
It's like the only thing you can pray for, you know?
Yeah.
And taken from our family. The pain that I feel is nothing compared to what my daughter felt. I feel selfish, even talking about how I feel. It's not my life anymore. It hasn't been my life since I heard Clementine's heartbeat, and I say that in the best way. The second I heard Clementine's heartbeat, my life stopped, and our life began. Every day that my heart beats, it beats for Clementine. Every day that I speak, I will speak for my daughter. It is now my mission to find my daughter, bring her to rest, give her respect and honor, and have people understand her value, her legacy. Clementine's voice is so important. Clementine's life is so beautiful. And I'm never gonna give up on my daughter. I'm never gonna forget my daughter. And I will find where they put my daughter's body. She will have the most beautiful funeral.
You won't.
I'm gonna make sure that I make her proud. I'm gonna make sure that people know her and her beautiful heart.
Yeah, that's one of the really hard ones. But yeah, he's never gonna be able to find her.
And so with this, you know, they say that it's like, you know, not really harmful to anybody, but the mother that's the only one that's taking the risk and everything. But look how many people it harms around them.
Well, and exactly, and this is why more guys.
And stuff.
That's why more guys need to speak up. You know, it's not just about the woman. It doesn't just affect the woman. You know, it affects the baby. It affects the guy, regardless of what is being said in this world, in this day and age. That is not true. It affects more people than what they say. It affects grandparents sometimes.
Yeah, so I was thinking
when they don't get to say.
Extended family and everything, and they're always saying, well, that's not. They always say that's not on them, but like, so you're gonna willfully hurt them, though.
Yes.
You know, just because. I mean,
If they're willing to help you, if they're willing to put in the effort.
Even if they're not.
Yeah.
It's like, like I said, they always say this. People get unexpectedly pregnant and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't do this. We didn't even have a place to stay.
No, and we did it.
And it wasn't ever a thought in my head. It was just like, oh, I can't do this. It's like, okay, this is the next thing. Now I do what I have to do.
Yeah.
Now we move on. Now we do the next thing.
The
next thing. And it's like, I don't know. There's a weakness with people, and I understand that, like I said, maybe the woman does get a majority say just for the fact that it's her hormones, it's her body. She's incubating. She's got, she's doing all of those things. She's creating. She's building the life.
Yes. But that's why the guy's supposed to be there. That's why the guy's supposed to help. That's why the guy's supposed to, have every situation with her.
Right. And that's idealistic, but there's a lot of people that just choose really badly.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I think that if they got rid of, if they made abortion a little bit harder, medical abortion a little bit harder, then it would really make people think about a lot of the decisions that they make. Because I don't care about that 1% of medical necessity.
No.
I don't care about the 1% of people who are raped. I care about the 98, 99% of the rest of them that just do it because they don't think they can handle it.
I know.
It's like, if you can't afford that, then you should not be surprised.
Exactly.
It's like, if you're gonna have relations, you should not be surprised with the results of that.
Exactly.
And you do the next thing. And
yes.
So by making this a little bit harder to come by, I think you might make people think about that a little bit more.
You would. I can almost guarantee you would.
I mean, it's like, people didn't think about it so much back in the 60s and it's like when it was a lot harder. It's like,
But that's because of the agendas now.
Right. Yep. I'll make sure you're still in here.
Yeah. The next one.
I think this will be Matt.
I hope so.
Oh yeah, pause it again though.
Tonight, I have the honor to introduce our keynote speaker. He is likely...
There we go.
Okay, so this is also from the Students of Life, so that's kind of perfect. They also have featured that gentleman that we saw in the last video.
Yeah, there.
Talking at a convention, and he does find out a little bit more about what happened with his daughter's body and what it was used for. And also it shows his new wife or girlfriend. And she stands behind him, and she even starts crying and everything.
Yeah, because that should hurt everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody should want to see that.
Yeah, 20 weeks,
and for somebody just to go through with that, to not care about another person's feelings on it.
I know, that's so narcissistic.
Yes. That is what is wrong with a lot of our society. We are this narcissistic. A lot of people are.
Yep.
With the whole woke agenda, it's all about the me.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe next Friday we can go over kind of like a subdivision of this. We'll go over the regretful parents thing.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like that has to be very seriously undiagnosed mental illness.
Yes, it does.
Because it is not normal to have those sorts of feelings. It's normal
to
be frustrated. It's normal to want to break. It's normal to get tired. But it is not normal to hate your children or to hate motherhood.
Yeah, no.
It is not normal.
No, I would never hate, the children or anything. And it's like, I'm tired 2/3 of the time.
I know, yeah, but you don't really lose your temper.
No.
You get a little short sometimes, but you don't lose your temper, and you don't take it out on anybody. It's like
no, and it is. You have to move on. You have to move and do the next thing in line.
And it's not like it's miserable because we have moments that are just incredibly peaceful.
Yes.
I saw a comment on the child free by choice thing, and it was like, I'm 37 years old. It's so nice. It's so nice, you guys. I'm 37 years old. I slept in this long. I read for an hour and a half. I played an hour and a half of video games. I did this. I did that. And it's like, I do all those things too.
Yeah.
And even as hard as you work, as much as you're out in the sun and doing that, you still will find time to try to squeeze in a little bit of gaming.
Yeah,
and it's
I do.
like, so they act like it's like, oh, I get to do all this stuff that you don't get to do. Bitch, if you fucking organize it right, you can do that too.
Exactly.
You can have it all.
Exactly.
You know, you just gotta learn to sacrifice a little here, a little here, a little here, and then put that together.
And for the most part, it's Minecraft. That's our family game.
It's really relaxing, you know. But it's like we probably, I mean, you know, I won't get into the details of it because present company, but you know, it's like we have time together. You know, we get to like watch movies and stuff. You know, it's like I don't know what they're doing. I mean, it is possible. Either. It is possible.
Yeah.
To have it all, to be able to do it all. You know.
All right, let's get on with Matt. He has a really good word.
Huh? Best known to you as the host of the Matt Walsh Show at the Daily Wire, or through his documentary, What is a Woman? I have a lot of answers to share of what is a woman. To me, though, Matt is an encouragement to never mince words or apologize for defending life in the public square. Ephesians 5:13 says, "But when anything is exposed by the light, it becomes visible." Matt has worked hard to expose the darkest corners of our culture, including the predatory abortion industry. And I hope tonight you leave encouraged by him to also join us in shining your light to help us abolish abortion. Please welcome Matt Walsh.
Thank you. Thank you. Please don't stand before I even speak. It sets the bar way too high. And then if you don't stand after I speak, then I think I'll let you down. So that's the problem. You know, I appreciate that introduction. She told me when we're sitting at the table that it was a decision between the snarky intro or the sincere intro. And I said, do the snarky one, but I got the sincere one. So I appreciate that. What's that? Okay. You want to share it right now? What's all right? I'm going to put you on the spot. Thank you all for being here. I'm very happy to be part of this wonderful event where we are rallying together for an important cause. It's the most important cause. It's the cause that lays the foundation for everything else. The thing that if we don't preserve it, we lose everything. It's the most fundamental and basic and essential thing of all, which is life. And what is it that most undermines, destroys, and threatens life in this country? Well, all of us in this room know that it's abortion. Abortion is still, for my money, and I think for everybody in this room, the defining issue of our time. It is still the wall that separates one side of the political divide from the other. And it is a wall that is built with the bodies of 60 million dead babies. Over 60 million babies have been killed through abortion, well over 60 million at this point. And the death toll is staggering. It's greater than anything the world has ever seen by order of magnitude. These victims, these children, have been killed legally by human hands in a little building in your local shopping mall that you drive by on your way to work or to Applebee's or to run errands. They've been killed at the behest of their own parents with the help of so-called doctors, facilitated and funded by the government. And in response to the silent screams of these human sacrifices, all there has been from so many in our culture is a giant yawn, or even in some corners, applause. Now, so many people in our country go about their days stepping over the bodies like debris, our shoes soaked in the blood of our own children.
It did used to be a demonic practice.
Let's reflect on that for a moment.
Like burn it and a thing, you know?
Children, the most innocent, the most pure, the most beautiful of all people, are the precise ones that we have targeted. They've harmed no one. They're filled with joy and potential and love. If we cannot see the value and worth of a child, then who can we see it in? I remain forever shocked and confounded by the sorts of people who could look at an unborn child and see only a clump of cells.
Here you go.
Now, we're all clumps of cells.
Yeah.
And if you go to Walmart sometime, you'll see many people who are far clumpier than your average infant. But I love Walmart. So I'm a Walmart shopper myself.
Yeah, maybe not for
Um,
long.
I know.
I heard my wife. She said, "Those are his people. They are my people." At Walmart.
Walmart.
I'm there like 5 times a week.
The joy on his face.
Anyway,
says it too.
But can you really not see the miracle in this life? Can you really not see the beauty? Can you really not see the tragedy in destroying?
I don't know if we get around to it, but Walmart and Costco are going to be selling the abortion pill now. They're being pushed to sell the abortion pill. So there's like a lot of people that are standing on the Christian principles saying, well, now is the time to actually start boycotting and also sign the petition to...
It's very true. In order to make an impact right now would be the time to do it.
Yeah.
That when they're in the talks of it, show the hurt that you can apply to them.
Right.
Say, listen, we're not going to stand for this. If you do this, then you're going to lose us all forever. But you have the chance to get us back if you say we will not do it.
Yeah, because, I mean, can you imagine the Midwest?
Yeah.
No,
I can't.
They would halt production of so much stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's what they're talking about. They're talking about Walmart, Costco. So I don't know if that's that's misoprostol.
Yeah.
And mifepristone or whatever the hell it is. But I was thinking that I'm like, well, in California, this stuff's been available for a while, but that's like the Plan B thing, huh?
Yeah, Plan B's been available.
And
We haven't had anything like this.
You could just like walk in and get that too.
It's behind the counter. You have to kind of talk to somebody and stuff, but so it's not just you get it. I think that they'll ask you questions and then they'll decide if they're going to give it to you.
There's no doctor on premises or anything, and they don't know.
Well, there is.
Is there?
In pharmacies, you have to have a doctor.
As a doctor or just like a pharmacist?
Well, I mean, pharmacists. I think they have to have a doctorate type of situation.
I don't know. Well, they don't in a lot of the places.
Yeah.
Because they send out, like, the main pharmacist.
Yeah.
But I guess they figure that's good enough. But, I mean, they're not going to know. They're not your regular doctor. They're not going to go know the intricacies of your body or anything. And that shit's rough. Like, I'm gonna get my box. Is it still up in here or is it in the long cabinet?
It should be in this thing here. Okay. And I was gonna say, if it does come down to this, if it goes further and we start having boycotts, I will go down and do a live in Bakersfield in front of one of the Walmarts.
Yeah, that'd be good.
To show everybody exactly what needs to be done.
And honestly, people need to go and like hand out flyers and everything else too, because it's like that should not be available.
No,
because like I said, the Plan B is bad enough. That is really rough, and I've had the misoprostol before.
Yeah,
it didn't work for its intended purposes, but it really screwed me up for a long time.
Yeah, it did,
and it screws a lot of people up for a long time.
That's kind of the point of it. I mean,
it's like it's painful.
Yeah.
Lots of bleeding, lots of cramping.
Exactly.
So I think it's supposed to be an anti GI tract bleeding thing, but I'm like, it causes a lot of pain.
Issues, yeah. And, some people have been screwed up for 3 months afterwards.
Yeah, that is the most common thing, and it's like that, and when they do the IUDs, it's about 3 months. That's another thing I need to talk about. But,
yeah. But that'll be a different video.
So let's focus on this for now.
Yeah.
I guess if I can find that thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Destroying.
Campbell starting to barking.
And it's a tragedy compounded threefold because with abortion, we not only reject our children, but we reject ourselves. We have to remember the miraculous thing about conception, the moment when a new life comes into being. What is so mystical and beautiful about it is that when you think about it, there isn't just one life being created, but 3.
Find it.
There is the child, a precious, vulnerable life plucked out of eternity and sent here by God. Then there's the woman who goes from being just a woman to being a mother. She herself is created in this moment. It is a moment of becoming. She becomes something. She is born alongside her child. The same is true for the man. He goes from being just a man to being a father. As a father of 6 myself, I can attest to the transformative nature of parenthood. I look back at myself before I had kids. I don't recognize that person. I also didn't have a beard back then, so I really don't recognize him. It was me, but it was me before I became what I was meant to be. It was me before I knew why I was here. But the reality is that while 3 lives are created at conception, only 1 is killed through abortion.
Yes, fatherhood is definitely a different situation. And I mean, I love it. I would not change it for anything. You know, we're about to have our second son, and I'm so excited to continue this and to be able to relive a lot of the same situations, and then continue with, with Guru here, continue on and have even more situations.
Yeah, it's like the whole. There's like not been a single part of it, even the sicknesses, even the pain, even the struggle that I haven't fully enjoyed.
Yes.
You know, and it's like you got to this point where it's like I'm still fully enjoy his company, but I know he's going to be moving on and doing his thing soon.
So having somebody to fill that spot would be even better.
That'll be great.
Somebody like, shoot you in the eye with a Nerf gun through the window.
You know, and it's like, and then, like you said, still being able to experience life with him as he's know, going through those different stages and everything. It's like it's been awesome.
It has.
You know, it's like it's taken. I mean, really, the past 8 years have been the best.
And you were one that started off like about the same way. Like I'll never have kids.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It was like that's exactly how I was raised. Most people are like they say, oh, their family pressures them. Mine was the exact opposite. It was always drilled into my head. She's nodding at me saying you don't want or shaking your head, you know, you don't want to have kids, you know, that would just be a burden, right? You know, and it's like you don't want to bring kids into this mess, into this world, and it's like
exactly
it should end with you because, you know, it's, you know, this is it. I mean, like I said, it was kind of a doomsday cult too.
Exactly.
So I guess but it's like we need warriors at the end of the world.
We do.
And if it was just me, then like where would we be? You know, I'd be totally screwed. And
exactly.
You know, so yeah, and my mother always, the worst thing that you could be is a kept woman. You shouldn't be barefoot and pregnant. You shouldn't, you know, it's like, it was really staunchly drilled into my head.
Yeah.
And even still, when I got pregnant, I didn't really think much about it. You know, it was like, you know, like the first time I was, you know, obviously pressured into having an abortion.
Yes.
You know, but like, yeah, when I got pregnant with him, it was just like, okay, this is the next thing.
Exactly.
You know, like
we knew
something that I wanted, but it's never something that I've regretted.
No,
you know?
not at all.
And I have no qualms with saying he was an unwanted child, you know, but you know, there's never been a regret, and he's just been completely awesome ever since. Yeah. You know, just like the most blessed mistake, you know.
Yep.
And now we know that there's no such thing as mistakes. Then
exactly, they come when they're supposed to.
It just is.
And that's another thing. Kids come when they're supposed to. So, who are you as a parent, as a woman, to say, "Well, no, I'm not supposed to have a kid right now"?
Right.
Who are you, with God's will, to say that?
And even by science's standard, who are you to say anything against science if your body is biologically telling you that you're pregnant now? You're pregnant now.
Exactly.
You know, so that you can't, even spiritually and scientifically, you come to the same agreement.
Yes.
It's like, who the hell do you think you are? You know, I mean,
life has plans.
Exactly.
They move into action. You are not there to stop them.
Right.
You want to talk about that? Or?
No, just
continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abortion. The child is gone forever from this earth, never to be seen again in this life. The mother and father are still who they became. Despite the lie that they are sold by the abortion industry, they don't go back to being just a woman and a man. The clock cannot be reversed. They're told by the abortion industry, oh, it's not your time. You could do this later. Well, no, it is your time.
Yeah.
It's already happened. Your time is now. Whether you feel ready for it or not, it is now. So you cannot go back to being just a woman and a man. You are still a mother, still a father, but now you are the parents of a dead child.
Yes.
The child's loss is their loss, whether they choose to confront it now or not. Eventually they will, and they will feel it, and they will mourn. There's no way to get around the fundamental fact that the pro-abortion movement wishes to deny that the humanity of the unborn, the personhood of the unborn, is just a fact. The pro-abortion advocate will try to say that the child's not a person because he's still developing, because he's dependent on his mother for survival. This, he will say, means that the baby lacks moral standing. But this view that personhood is acquired by degree and that it is forfeit if you are entirely dependent on someone else for survival clearly implicates more than just the unborn. It seems that the sick, the infirm, the disabled, the elderly all get caught up in this net. By this line of reasoning, all of these people have, at a minimum, less claim to personhood than I do. If personhood is on a spectrum, if it is contingent, by this logic, we have depersoned many categories of people, which is a feature, not a bug, of the pro-abortion movement. They intend to whittle away at both ends of life, the young and the old, unpersoning one subset after another, until the right to life has been extinguished for all but the privileged few. The only other option, aside from personhood being attained by degree, is that personhood and its attending moral rights and dignities is inherent to all living human beings. If something is inherent, that means that it belongs to the essential nature of that thing. The idea that our human dignity, our personhood is inherent, that it belongs to our essential nature, cannot be lost or diminished under any circumstances. That's an idea that lies at the foundation of our country, at the foundation of any notion of human rights. It's an idea that everyone in this country pretends to believe under most circumstances. If an unborn baby does not have inherent value, then human value itself is not permanent or essential, and thus, if it does not have inherent value, then neither do you.
Yep.
You cannot gain inherent value. You either have it from the first moment of your existence, or you do not have it at all. Which is why sometimes I think that we get lost in the weeds with this argument about, well, does life begin at conception? The answer is yes, it does. But also, existence begins at conception. There's no question about that, is there? Whatever you want to call the child at the moment of conception, it at least exists, doesn't it? And if you say that life does not begin at conception, then what you are saying is that there was a moment of your own existence when you were not a person, and that doesn't make any sense.
It's brilliant.
How could there be a moment of your own existence when you were not you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the personhood argument for abortion is actually even worse than it sounds at first. It's so bad that even if it were true, it would do almost nothing to prove the pro-abortion case. This is how wrong these people are, that even if they were right, they would still be wrong. Because the personhood argument for abortion is a syllogism with a missing premise. It seems to go like this. Premise one, an unborn baby is not a person. He is merely a potential person. Conclusion, therefore we can kill him. Now, wait a second. Two does not flow logically from one. You're missing something here. You skipped over a step. Just because someone isn't a person doesn't necessarily mean that you can kill them. That's a whole separate case you need to make that you haven't made. There's a whole other premise you have to establish. You haven't even tried to do it. So even if I conceded this point, even if I let you make the first massive logical leap and I said, okay, it's not a person, it's a potential person, you still have another even bigger leap to make. Because now you need to prove that it is okay to destroy this potential person. I don't see how you make that case, because if I agree it's a potential person, for the sake of argument, it would seem to me that this potential human ought to be treated like the most valuable non-person thing on the planet. It would seem to be the second best thing next to being a person. And I don't think it is necessarily okay to kill the second best thing. I mean, wouldn't the potential person still be more valuable than, say, a sea turtle egg? Sea turtle eggs are protected by the federal law. There's no question that sea turtles aren't people. Now, to be clear again, I don't even for a moment buy the idea that an unborn person is just a potential person. I reject it outright on scientific, logical, and moral grounds. I'm just trying to establish that the argument doesn't work even on its own premise. Consider it this way, and I've used this analogy before, and it's a little bit of a crude analogy. It doesn't work entirely, but I think it illustrates the point a little bit.
Is that what you said?
What if you had a winning lottery ticket? What if you won $50 million in the lottery, and you had your lottery ticket, and you were skipping down to the lottery office, waving it in the air? Not a good idea. You're saying, look, everyone, I just won $50 million. Check it out. Now, imagine that I run up and I snatch that ticket from you and I burn it right in front of you. Now, that ticket was not $50 million. Just a ticket. It was just a receipt. That's all it was. It was just the potential of $50 million. It was moments away from being converted into $50 million. But at the moment that I destroyed it, it was just a piece of paper. But would you react as though you just lost a piece of paper? Or would you react as though you just lost $50 million? Would you accept my argument if I said, hey, man, calm down? It was just potentially $50 million. Of course you wouldn't. See, whether the ticket is $50 million or merely the potentiality of $50 million is basically irrelevant. It is semantics. And certainly you would say that the potentiality of $50 million has a worth greater than zero. In fact, it probably has a worth of $50 million. As it happens, the child in this analogy is already, from the moment of conception, $50 million. More, he is a thing of infinite value, not just infinite potential value. But what I'm trying to say is I don't see the difference really between infinite potential value and infinite value. So if I agree with how they frame the argument that this child is just a potential child, I would still see it as an act of unspeakable wickedness to murder the potential child. And that's what abortion is in the end. This is the truth that cannot be escaped. It is the intentional destruction of innocent human life. And intentionally destroying innocent human life is always wrong, period, in every case, no matter what. If it is not always wrong to intentionally destroy innocent human life, then nothing is wrong. Then the very word wrong has no meaning. That's our case as pro-lifers. It is always wrong to intentionally kill innocent human life. That's our case. That's the whole argument. That's it. It's very simple. But there's a lot of power in its simplicity. You know, it's the other side that has to get very complicated, has to get into the weeds, the semantics, has to bring up the hard cases, has to bring up this and that, and obfuscate. That's all they ever do. Because they cannot take...
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the 1%. This is the 1% that he's now talking about.
Yeah, so it's like they like you said, it's simple from our perspective.
Yes.
You know, and their perspective. You know, like it's interesting coming from us because we're more pagan than we are Christian, but it shows that you can come to the same moral
understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it bothers me when the other side of us is saying these things that it's like, well, their life is more important.
Yes.
Is that they have to bring up that complicated, what if the 12-year-old gets raped?
I know.
Thing. You know, so it's like that's the issue.
It's a very big one too.
And 1% of people
take this issue head on. They can't just talk about what this thing is.
Try to get through it, and then.
That's why it's such a tragedy that in recent months, a large contingent of people who are supposed to be on our side have abandoned this simple truth.
Yeah.
Indeed, it's one of the most shameful and twisted ironies that I've ever seen that pro-lifers won the greatest human rights victory of all time with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But rather than our side being emboldened by our historic achievement, rather than celebrating, rather than acting confident and triumphant, rather than throwing parades to celebrate this amazing thing that has happened, instead, many conservatives, quote unquote, have over the past many months and last couple of years become very shy about this issue.
A lot of people have.
They've even blamed us, pro-lifers, for some of the electoral defeats in recent elections. They claim there will be more defeats in the future, and when they happen, it'll be our fault. Now, the first question I have for any conservative who claims that we can only win by being moderate on abortion, the first question I have is this: what the hell do you know about winning? What wins do you have under your belt? What battles have you fought and won? What battles have you fought at all? Because as long as I've been alive and involved in any of these issues, there's always been that voice, that very loud voice among people that pretend to be allies of ours, All they ever do is say, well, don't, that's a little too far. Don't say that. No, let's not fight over, let's not die on this hill. They never find a hill worth dying on. And one day you look around and you look, well, there's no hills left. So I go back to this question. Why the hell would anyone come to you for insight on this issue or any other if you're in this camp? You want to talk to me about winning? Then show me your wins. Or shut up. Now, I can show you our wins. We have them as pro-lifers. What about you? And these are all very good questions, but we never get an answer. Instead, we're assured that conservatives are losing because of the abortion issue. The issue is unwinnable.
That's good.
Pro-lifers will screw everything up.
That's good.
We have to come out and endorse legalized abortion in order to win. Mm-hmm. I've even heard, as I think many people in this room have, alleged conservatives recently declare that abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. I've heard this from conservatives. Literally repeating pro-abortion talking points from the 1990s. Now, just to be clear, if you are a supposed conservative now saying that we should embrace legalized abortion in any form, then you are, make no mistake, advocating for a full-scale surrender. You're free to take that position if you want, but please, for the love of God, don't pretend that you're a fighter if you do. You're waving the white flag. You're doing the thing that the other side never does, and ours too often does. You are snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. You are apologizing for winning. But before you hoist that flag, let me offer a few thoughts. First of all, you can blame pro-lifers for the recent string of electoral defeats, or, especially given that this string began before Dobbs, you could consider the possibility that the right, by and large, has been running bad candidates and bad campaigns. It's amazing when I see this clown car parade that they trot out around election time, and these clowns lose, and then they turn to us and say, why'd you do that to us? This is especially worth considering given that many of the losers over the past few years have not even been pro-life hardliners or pro-life at all. Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, for one example. Liberal on the issue. Second, the claim that conservatives should moderate on abortion is not some brilliant new insight, okay? It's not any kind of bold political innovation. All these people that say this now, acting like, you know what, I just thought of something. I think we should be more moderate. Oh, wow. But how did you come out? That was a real light bulb moment. This is what the establishment has been saying for my entire life. Since I was born and before, the establishment has insisted that the only way to win is to go soft on abortion, compromise, hide from the issue, undersell it. This has been conventional milquetoast Republican thinking forever. Does it appear to have been effective? Does it have a track record of success? Ask yourself that. These people have been losing and scapegoating social conservatives forever.
Yes.
They've been blaming us for their failures since always. This is nothing new. Why would we buy into it now? The truth is that so-called social conservatives are the only ones on the right side of the political spectrum who've been doing any winning of any kind. Not only are we not to blame for Republican losses, but we are the only ones who can claim any wins at all. See, social conservatives know how to fight the culture war. In fact, we are the only ones who do.
Did you talk about any more about?
We're the reason Roe was overturned. We're the reason that bills protecting the unborn have been passed in many states. It's not just abortion. We're the reason that it's now illegal to castrate and mutilate children in the name of gender transitions in many states.
I'd rather die than compromise.
We are this. I would not compromise on abortion, even if it really did mean losing every election from now until kingdom come. And that's because to accept child murder is to forfeit your soul. And if we are really a country where child murder is so popular where acceptance of child murder is so fundamental to our way of life that it's impossible to win if you oppose it, then we are not a country worth saving. If that were the case, then we deserve whatever destruction is coming our way. God will strike us down for our sins. And I couldn't stand in the way of that if I wanted to, and I don't want to. I will never accept abortion. I will never compromise on it. I will never give up any ground. I will not give an inch, not an inch. All abortion is wrong, always. It is never okay to kill an innocent and defenseless human being. It is always our obligation as human beings, as parents, as Americans, to protect the innocent, especially our children. And if we cannot do that, if we won't do that, then we are worthless. There are no exceptions to this. None, period. I would rather die than compromise on this issue. But the good news is that the whole premise is flawed. The pro-life message can win in this country, but only if we have the courage to fight for it and the intelligence to fight well. The pro-life message has already won in so many ways on so many battlefields.
Pause.
Everybody in this room.
Okay, so then if you want to see the rest of this video, go to Matt Walsh's, it was not Matt Walsh, it was actually Students for Life. Yeah, Students for Life page, and then he has his, this one there. It's called To Accept Child Murder is to Forfeit Your Soul. It's Matt Walsh, and then it's National Celebrate Life Gala. Yeah, it was really good. It just got a little political. Yeah. We're running out of time. But we need to go type up here in the search bar, Project2025. Yes, check this place out. This will give you the truth of what's going on with the Project 2025 that everybody's been talking about. Matt Walsh was handing out information about this. At the DNC. Right? Project. No, that's not how you spell project. No, that's P-O. Project2025.com. Let's go check it out. Okay. There we are. Now, go to the audio first. Hold on a second. And as you can see, it takes you to this website.
I never thought much about race. Sure, you noticed, but never really seemed to matter that much. At least not to me.
Being a white, straight, cisgender man, it's the top of the pile.
I'm on the top of the pile. That's me. Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
Can you please leave?
If I'm going to sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover. If I want to be an ally, I need to look like one.
What is racism?
Martin Luther King said not to judge people by the...
Martin Luther King said a lot of stuff.
Is America inherently racist? What the hell is that?
The word inherent is challenging there. America is racist to its bones. All of the...
So inherent.
Yeah.
The entire system has to burn. And I'm not going to even use save this country. This country is not worth saving. This country is a piece of shit.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
They gonna say I'm racist.
Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certification. Where are you guys in your anti-racist journeys?
Yes.
So I'll look around the room and point to who we believe is the most racist person in the room. We want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument. Would you mind signing it? You will? What do you think about this issue of heteronormativity and how it intersects with the broader structures of racism in society?
They gonna say I'm racist.
What's up with white people? What are you doing to decenter your whiteness?
Who's making it the center? Why are they doing that?
What you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. This is more for you in this field. White.
Folks.
White.
Trash. White supremacy. White woman. White boy.
White.
Entitlement.
White.
Centering. White. Silence.
Is there a black person around here? There's a black person right here. Does he not exist?
They gonna say I'm racist, but they call everybody racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi. And what's your name?
I'm Matt.
Matt. Hi, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
I just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They In theaters September 13th. It's rated PG-13. Buy
Get your
tickets now.
tickets at IamRacist.com.
Yep, or here at Project 2025. And I think the coolest thing about this, and it's a good way to end it, was it this one?
Yeah, I think so.
Was this little link and this little Easter egg right here. I don't know if it's going to share it though.
It should, right?
No, it's not going to share it. But you can hear it. So.
Murder's glaring at us.
We just got rickrolled by Matt Walsh. Yep. So we've been trolled. That's what this whole thing is about.
Yep.
Alrighty.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And that was a really good one. I mean, what, an hour and 25 minutes?
Yeah, next time maybe we can go over like issues with like how they peddle birth control.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
Some of the health issues and stuff that come from that. People speaking out now against the IUDs.
Exactly. There's a lot more to go over, a lot more stuff.
And regretful parents.
Yes, regretful parents too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy some of the stuff out there.
And then you get the people that also say that they wish that they were aborted. You know,
Yeah.
like the antinatalists are like, I didn't ask to be here. I wish
you
I was
do.
never born. People suing their parents for having them and shit.
We live in a Sue Happy nation. What can you say? So, all right. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming here.
Have a good night.
Have a great night.